I don't think you expect what I'm going to tell you, because I'm not going to tell you that it's because Biglaw is incredibly competitive and that law firms don't like to make people partner, and that making partner is one of the most difficult things in this life to achieve from a career perspective. I'm not going to tell you any of that. The reality is that most people don't make it to partner because they don't want to be partner. No, but seriously, and I can speak to this personally, having worked in Biglaw and what that industry looks like. You have something like 80 to 90% of junior associates who come in the door as first-year associates at big law firms that are statistically gone by the end of their 4th year of practice in Biglaw. And I was one of them. Most of my friends were as well, whether they went in-house or they started their own law firms like me, or they work a different law firm. They don't stay at that firm. And that ratio, that percentage of people that leave, that only gets higher the more senior people get. Usually because as you scale up in the big law world, you actually work more. Your responsibilities become deeper with client relationships and also delegating and working with folks that are mid-level and junior sort of underneath you. And your exit opportunities also get better. In-house companies and other law firms will start looking at you and offering you more money, offering you fancy titles. Sometimes startup companies will offer you cool opportunities, like becoming the head of legal or a general counsel, basically giving you a ton of latitude to run your own sort of operation inside a startup. And of course, if you get that equity, that could be very lucrative. So you might be wondering, okay, Julian, so a lot of the people that go into law firms, they don't want to be partner, they self-select themselves out. But what about the people that stay in law firms and actually want to become partner? What does that ratio look like?
What?
And the data here is pretty difficult to find. I will link below a Chambers survey that has numbers that are all over the place when it comes to the percentage of people who are basically entering a firm and the likelihood they'll become partner. But what most people in the industry estimate as far as the ratio of successful rates of going up for partner and making it is right around 50%. And of course, look, this is the classic lawyer, it depends, right? It depends on the law firm. It depends on how good the financial prospects of that firm were for that year. It depends on you as the specific applicant going up for partner and what you bring to the table. In most cases, the reality of going up for partner is that it's either going to be a 100%, yeah, you're going to be partner, or it's going to be a 0%, no, you were not going to be a partner. Most of the time, by the time you're a mid-level or a senior associate especially, you know, based on conversations you're having with management, with senior partners, with senior associates and senior staff, whether you're on the right track, you know, the partner track as it's called. And you'll know, likewise, if maybe you're not, right? Whether that's because your hours aren't there, or you aren't getting in your time logs on time, or you're not bringing in enough business. I mean, most firms, I imagine, will work with you and explain to you what's going on, give you an attempt to work on it. Not going to speak for all firms, but I imagine most would. Now, when it comes to actually making partner, I have a separate video on that, which I'll link below, and you can take a look at the things that make it more likely than not that you'll be accepted as partner. But the TLDR here, guys, is that making partner is a big commitment of your time. It's a big commitment of your energy, but it's not impossible. And many people actually realize after they decided in their 20s or their teens that they wanted to do it, they realize when they get into the industry that they don't really love that type of practice. They don't love how it's overbearing, how it could be bureaucratic, how it could be suffocating. And yeah, while you make a lot of money and it's a prestigious title, you know, again, it's just not for everybody. One last thing to note here, and that's a lot of the time firms will have an up or out system when it comes to making partner, which basically means that if you are not going to actually successfully make partner and be voted in, there is some expectation that you're going to go and leave the firm and do something else, whether that's being placed at a client in-house side or moving to a different law firm. Perhaps you make partner at a different law firm, that's fine. But often that is what the expectation is from senior management when they look down at the ranks of associates, is they don't expect you to just kind of wait around. If you're not going to become partner, you cannot continue to rank up as an associate. It doesn't work like that. And the expectation is at many firms that you're going to move on and do something else. Sometimes people will take on of counsel roles, which is basically like a super senior associate, sort of like a mutual understanding that I'm not going to be a partner, but I still like working here. You pay me a salary just like a senior associate, and I'll continue to perform as a senior associate, even though I have more experience now than a senior associate does. So that's basically it, guys. I think the reality is that becoming a partner, whether it's in Biglaw or at a different law firm, it is doable. It's just that a lot of people don't really care to do it.
We don't do that here.
If you aren't subscribed to the channel, hit that sub button. It was great to see you. Remember, Discord for free mentorship down in the comments, $5 guide to getting into law school with all my tips and secrets and tricks, all in the caption down below. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.